The ramparts have kidnapped you, and not in a fun way. Would you like a Higurashi scene, or would you like a redo of Healer scene? Take your pick. I love how they think they're gonna have some bum-ass village, and now there's a whole-ass kingdom here. I would prefer it if you would stop doing that. Imagine being taunted by an 8-year-old up there. I'll beat kids the same way I'll beat anyone. Huh, that's a new arrow. Oh, it's gonna explode in the sky and then rain down. That's actually brilliant. That makes sense. By bringing him with, seeing how quickly he can make defense shit, you can make defense for any area. The way to get a big boy to do something? Threaten him with no barbecue. But at least Rampart's coming back with a big ass... You know, he has a fucking... He has a view of that. America! Where have you been? You were the chosen one to keep this fucking show together. He's immediately realizing that. I was like, okay, the dad, fuck him. Basically thinking, man, the sons of this douchebag are turning out rather okay, aren't they? Of course, those are just some of the highlights. You want to catch the full and unblurred live reaction, head on over to the Patreon. But let's jump into this. We got a lot to talk about this week, because this was a good episode of Easygoing Territory Defense. I mean, how many times can you honestly say you've seen an Isekai'd child make their own father call him daddy? Now, have we technically seen it just yet? No. Are we about to? Yeah. I mean, one of two things is going to happen. He's going to be arrogant and hate him and try to be like, this kid's evil, like, I'm jealous as fuck. Or, which I think is the likely option, Van, my boy, I sent you off to make you a man, and I knew you would prove me right. Oh. It'll be something stupid like that, and Lord Van will be like, you know what, go fuck yourself. In a very polite way, I assume, right? And for those who aren't keeping score at home in terms of the hierarchy of daddy, this is the daddy on top. So this is who even Lord Van calls daddy, because Van knows his place. Sure, he gives him a little backhanded compliment sometimes, and he even talks back to him a little much, which causes him to twitch a little in his face, but he agrees with it. But I think even Lord Van knows that that is his daddy. That's the man who, you know how like a girl will be like, Dad, I need some money for the shopping mall. And he's like, all right, I can't say no to you. Van does that for this king. He's basically like, Daddy, my real dad will kill me if he catches wind. Can you make sure I can live here forever? Yeah, all right, whatever. I don't give a fuck. You can live my... That's basically the vibe I get. Now, if that isn't how you've been looking at this isekai, you're just viewing it wrong. It's okay. I am your daddy, right? See, you gotta understand the hierarchy of daddies. I'm your daddy. Van's daddy is him. In terms of real biological daddy, basically the dead to us daddy. That is the daddy formula in terms of this isekai. We're all caught up to speed? All right, good. Now, I did see a decent amount of people last week about what we thought were dragons in the sky. Turns out they are wyverns, which we're going to talk about because they fucking threw me for a loop. A lot of people thinking it was daddy's fucking dragon. He was testing us, right? It was such a coincidence. And I thought, man, either there's a lot of source readers in my comments this week pretending not to be, or I'm just missing shit. Turns out, no, like, it was a freak accident, and this dude was basically sent in the middle of bumfuck nowhere to take care of an abandoned village, all things considered. And I mean, at face value, sending 12 to deal with a fortress, not an appropriate amount of number to, you know, seize a castle. But they weren't expecting a castle because no one other than Van is going to develop an entire nation in the span of a week, right? And it was really interesting because I honestly can't remember the last time I've seen a wyvern look like this. Maybe in terms of classical design, this is how they're supposed to look, but it was just a big ass KFC bird, man. It was weird. My brain continued to process it over time, and no matter how much I examined it, I thought this thing just doesn't make sense in my head. But it was different. Like, is this show visually the most overwhelming thing? You're like, damn, it gonna make all other anime look awful? No, like, I mean, there's times where it's just like the most minimal design bird and they're all just kind of dragging on screen like this. But the show's got its heart. It tries its best, and to be honest, it's so colorful that even at its worst visually, like, you can't look at a scene like this and be like, damn, my eyes are bleeding from the brutality on screen because it's so god-awful. It's just like, yeah, it's simple, but it's kind of effective for what they're going for. Not to mention, we get introduced to a new weapon that Lord Van has made. So after dealing with a dragon one time, he immediately said, we need a weapon that is going to be effective at shooting things down in the sky that are not being shot down from the sky that easily. So what he develops is explosive arrows. So you can use the very strong catapult to not try to hit the creature. You aim it near the creature, but it will go past the creature, explode, and in this case, throwing stars will rain down on you. I thought it was just going to be arrows, but this leads to a lot of possibilities. We could have throwing stars, we could have miniature bombs all sprinkled out. There's a lot of different things. Corrosive acid, who knows what limitations he has, but if Van is immediately developing a new weapon as soon as he sees a threat that he hadn't necessarily prepared for, that means as long as he lives to see another day, whatever he was fighting isn't going to live to see another day the next time they fight, you know what I mean? And while, yeah, the 3D can obviously be noticeable in scenes like these, we can't deny that it was a very practical thing. Like, we go from song and dance to immediately mobilizing it as an attack drone. And the thing that will be interesting to see, especially with her, is that we know her magic isn't necessarily rare, as in like 1 in a billion, but it's more banned because of the evil taboo-ness. Oh, you could manipulate a human, you could use a robot to kill me from a distance, right? So even if she can only ever use one of those things at a time, we could in theory recruit more people with that ability to make an army of these types of users, and that's pretty exciting. Also, I'm not gonna lie, I thought we've already developed the catapult. I think the reason I thought that is because every time Van would go to make more upgrades to his castle ramparts, I was like, oh man, it'll be catapult time. It never happened. But no, now we have a catapult. Very small one at face value, but granted it needs to be portable. I'm interested to see if we were to get a season 2. I mean, I'm sure they're going to be utilized pretty well in the final battle, which I assume is just going to take next episode, and then episode 12 will be kind of resolution epilogue where we would tease for a season 2. But if we did get a season 2, I'm interested in what type of combinations, because this show is basically a tower defense. Right now, we have a lot of range-based, arrow-based attacks and magical soldiers. If we actually got a season 2 and we got to see an actual tower defense formation where maybe we keep catapults over here to do a certain role and then the arrows do this, like, I want to feel like I'm playing a tower defense and I'm like, damn, I finally got like 3 or 4 really good setups active and they're all working in harmony, and I see the vision. This show has seriously remained to be one of my personal favorites I've watched this season. Yeah, I started it late, I'm not going to deny that, and I don't think had I been watching this weekly much would have changed. I did enjoy it right from the get-go, and my immediate thought was, I'm quite interested to see where they're going to take it, and very quickly I liked it more and more. So maybe it would have took me a month to immediately sing its praise to the height I currently am. But I did like this from the beginning, and while I do think there are objectively better anime being made and released currently in this season, it's within like the top handful, top 5, potentially even top 3 of what entertains me the most. And while I can certainly recognize its faults in production, and I can recognize that it's not the most complex character arcs, and you know, half the time we're joking about huge ass ramparts, both literally and figuratively, it's fucking fun time, man. And I think sometimes people take anime a little too seriously, and I think this show isn't trying to be like, oh man, we're trying to craft Attack on Titan level plot twist. No, like, clearly the author was having a fun time, and I think so far the anime production is also having a fun time, despite its limited amount of time to polish certain scenes, you know what I mean? But you can let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of this week's episode? We only got a couple to go. What do you want to see in the last stretch? Do let me know down below. Drop a like, share your support, subscribe, ring the bell if you haven't already. And Patreon is where you catch the full live reactions, all this and more, which does help fund the channel. So you know I got to give those video shows to my patrons, because I make it all possible over here. Alright, so today we got Attack Owl, Bird Nest, Enderwolf, Gomasim, Tiaras, Joe, Ryuki, and we also have Kevin. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. You'll have a good one.